Taste of Country Nights with Evan Paul on demand, season 2, episode 37 with the one and only Miranda Lambert.
Songwriting, like when you, there's been rides where I've been in, and you take a picture of the table and it's like candy and wrappers and beer cans and cigs. It's like, what did we do here? All it was country music, and it made a train wreck out of this room.
We had a great time chatting it up with Miranda Lambert. She was very gracious with her time, and we went over a lot of stuff, even getting into the weeds about her husband, who was an ex-cop, and how it is driving with him in the car. Does he criticize everything she does? We get into that and a whole bunch more. Check out this full interview with Miranda Lambert, and when you're done, you can go back and listen to past interviews with some of our biggest stars. Waylon Jennings' grandson just stopped by. Thomas Rhett was here. Lainey Wilson was on. Just search for Taste of Country Nights on demand wherever you get your podcasts. Evan Paul hanging with Miranda Lambert. What's up?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Loving the record.
Thank you.
It feels a little personal, but less autobiographical.
Well, that's a really good way to put it.
Is that true? That's how you feel?
Yeah. It's like little snippets of each influence I've had. It's a record of going back to the roots of it all. Okay.
And what would you say peels back a layer of who you are since Palomino?
You know what? Palomino was all about travel. We wrote a lot of it in 2020, so it makes sense. A lot about road trip, a lot about travel, a lot about characters you meet along the way. And this record felt like I made it home after all of that. And here's some snippets of where I've been and where I'm headed.
There's a few breakup songs on here. Looking back, what is it? Looking back?
Looking back on Luckenbach.
Looking back. Okay.
Luckenbach, Texas.
I'm not going to get personal in here, but have you ever avoided a song because you were worried about how we would spin it? Tabloids being we.
I haven't avoided it. I've just picked my moments when I was ready to have whatever song that was out, because I signed up to tell the truth. I got in country music, and that's what we do. And I just feel like it's important to good, bad, and ugly, tell your story, because it's also somebody else's story. It makes you not feel alone.
It's easier to write songs like that, would you say, or harder?
No, it's harder, especially if they're solo writes. I mean, it's scary. You're putting all your feelings. You can't hide behind a co-writer. It's here it is. Here's my diary entry.
It is scary.
Yeah.
With songs like Alimony, who came up with San Antone, Remember the Alimony? If you're going to leave me in San Antone, remember the Alimony.
Shane McAnally is ridiculous. He came in with that title, and I was like, oh my God, I love it so much. And I got to use all my little kitschy sayings in that song.
Do you keep those written down in a memo? Or
I think I'm just in there, just being raised on just country slang,
This is the first record on the new label. Is there a part of you that has a chip on your shoulder? You want to show your old label and everybody what they're missing?
Well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, who doesn't? When you that was Stacy popping in from out there. It's just my new label. At the perfect time. No, I'm just excited to have team that's so excited about music and leads with art. Republic and Big Loud have already just shown me so much how they lead with art, and that is all we could want as an artist, and it just lights a fire and makes me ready to roll.
Did you get a studio tour and an office tour and everything?
I got the whole pitch.
Really?
They sold me and I loved it. It was great. And after being in one place for 20 years and that's another reason I wanted to go home to make Postcards from Texas, because I wanted to go back to the root of everything, where it all started, because I'm starting a new journey with a new team after 20 years in the business. And that's crazy. Not everybody gets the opportunity to do that. So I don't take it for granted. I'm ready to roll.
Now you're 20 years, obviously, like you just said, Hall of Fame eligible. Who belongs in there before you?
So many people. Are you kidding me? I have a lot of work to do before I get in there. And I know it, and that's okay.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't think
you gotta earn that. You gotta earn that spot, and I'm willing to do the work.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm gonna be in there. just at the right time.
I like that. I like that quote. Eric Church famously has this list of people who had done him dirty. Hardy has somebody that wrote "quit" on a record, on a piece of paper and dropped it.
He's doing a whole tour about it.
Yeah. Is there anything similar with you in regards to your career? Have you had anything similar happen?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in an industry for 20 years, there's always stories of like, being told no or being treated poorly or, inappropriately, especially for female artists. There's a lot of memories, some great ones, but do you also remember the bad ones and you write about it and you put revenge songs on your record, and that's how that goes. Like, you got to be careful when you're messing with a songwriter because we're gonna put it out there.
Dude, I thought I had it good as a radio DJ. I would tell girls I dated back in the day, like, you better be careful. I'm gonna talk about you on the air.
We're gonna put it out there.
You got it even better.
Yep.
That's awesome. I want to talk about. I want to play you something that Lainey Wilson said about you recently when she was in here.
What would you say you admire most about Miranda?
Her grit, her determination. I just love how she has had like longevity. She's been around a long time and she continues to be around. And I think she just like, she has this spitfire spirit about her that is contagious.
I love her. She's the best.
Yeah.
She's the best. Lainey's the best. I'm so proud of her. Watching her star rise and just how she carries herself and is authentically herself is, it's just, she stands out because of that. And I'm such a fan, and she's a friend, and proud to have made music with her. And hopefully we get to do a lot together, hopefully coming up.
Yeah, she told me how you texted her on her birthday, but didn't know it was her birthday, and that was the first time you guys spoke.
Yeah.
And then she also gave me a tidbit, so I'm going to play something else for you.
Okay.
I asked her to fill in the blank about you.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I've been hanging on to this. I'm so excited.
Fill in the blank. One time I got drunk with Miranda and...
Smoked too many cigarettes.
Hey, we're songwriting. It doesn't count.
I'm like, I don't smoke unless I'm around her.
I don't smoke unless I'm right around songs.
Let me see. I'm trying.
Hey, that's not, songwriting, like when you, there's been rides where I've been in, and you take a picture of the table and it's like candy and wrappers and beer cans and cigs. It's like, what did we do here? All it was country music, and it made a train wreck out of this room. All bets are off when you're writing songs. That's part of it.
That's fair. Amen. Who gets your vote for CMA Entertainer of the Year this year? I
don't even know who's. Oh, it doesn't matter who's up.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's up.
Gosh, I have to say Morgan because he is out there slaying. You don't get to play for that many people in a weekend. That is a huge deal. And and I think I respect him as an artist. He's really authentic to who he is, and he's playing for stadiums full of people multiple nights. That's entertainment,
You could just text Morgan Wallen?
I could, but he probably won't text you back.
Give me some juice.
He's a dude. Dudes are terrible. They just won't.
Even if it's you?
He might. You want me to text him? I don't have my phone in here. What's up? He's probably not awake. It's early for us kinds.
Okay. If we made you president of country music, what's the first bill you would sign?
Oh, God. I don't know. That's a hard one. I'd say my first bill would say all bets are off when writing songs. This is a no judgment songwriting zone.
I like that. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Who would be your vice president?
Oh, Lainey.
Okay, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah,
Y'all
come on, girl.
rocking.
We got
Okay. Who's on your Mount Rushmore country music?
Oh, God. That's too hard. It really is too hard. But, I'll rattle some off.
Okay.
I have to pick 4 right now. Emmylou, George Strait, Merle Haggard, and Willie.
You got any stories with hanging with Willie?
No, I never did get to smoke weed with Willie. I
Really?
want to. I would. I don't think he smokes anymore.
Okay.
But I did get to do his 90th birthday party, and it was awesome.
Okay.
At the Hollywood Bowl, it was last year, and it was so fun. I loved it. Or was it this year? I don't even know. It's 2024, right?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Everything after the pandemic has just been
I've lost
whatever.
I've lost some years.
Well, let's talk about eras of Miranda Lambert. There's a lot of eras. You've been through a lot. Not counting the current one, what's the most fun era of Miranda Lambert?
I think right now I'm having the most fun right now. Honestly, I feel like there's artistic freedom. I feel like I've done a bunch and learned a whole lot of what not to do. I give less of a shit about what people that I don't know think about me. But I care more about what people that are in my inner circle and really know my character do think. You know, that's stuff you learn by living. And I feel like this is my most fun era.
How do you give less of a shit about what other people think? Because that's tough for anybody.
It just can bog you down and it doesn't mean anything. You know, it's like you can get really caught up in what strangers have to say about you. And it's like, but it doesn't speak to your character because they don't really know you, you know? So I just am like trying to just be me and like be the best person I can be and learn from my mistakes and hopefully help other artists like through whatever they're going through, you know, because it's tough business and I've stayed in it for a really long time.
Me and Charlie talking. Could you even drink when that came out?
No, I was not like 19 when that song came out.
Okay, what would you tell that girl now?
Did I drink or could I drink?
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
well, I think that's fair.
It's country music, don't forget. That little girl, I would just tell her, hold on tight because it's a ride, you know. But the reward is there. It's worth it. It's worth all the tears and all the miles. It's worth it.
Is there a time where you almost quit?
Every August.
Why?
Every August of my life.
Why?
Because it's just hard, like, especially like when you're grinding like 200 shows a year back in the day. Like Lainey's out there doing it right now. Like Carrie Underwood too, she's still working her butt off. Like, and it's after like festival season and fair season, and you're just hot and it's been dusty, and you're just like crusty and ready to go home. And every August, I'm like, I'm not touring anymore. I'm not touring anymore. And my agent's like, you say this every August for like 20 years. Oh. And then I get a break, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready again.
At least you're self-aware about
Exactly.
it. A lot of songs that you have are very fiery, you know, in your past, Kerosene, Gunpowder and Lead. Do you still get that kind of angry?
Yeah, I gotta muster it up every night, you know, on stage, like at least 2 nights a week. So I like it. It's like, it doesn't define me. And I've also like, you know, calmed down about it a little bit, but it's still in there. And that's why, like, Wranglers to me on this record, on Postcards from Texas, it feels like it could have been on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It could have been on Kerosene.
Yeah.
It could have been on Revolution. I feel like I hadn't had a song like that in a while. That I got to keep that feisty because it's my bread and butter.
What's the feisty look? Like, what do you like the look you give Brendan or something when you're?
It's like I can't do it on command. Like,
okay,
you have to really piss me off.
I mean, gosh, I don't want to do that. I
don't want you to do it. It's too early.
I just won't do that then. Are you less angry now in 2024?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
A lot angry. Okay.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Okay. Let's talk about last time you were here. You were newly married and you were worried about what Brendan was going to do for your birthday.
Yeah.
It's 5 years in now.
5 years in.
What do you appreciate about Brendan that you didn't maybe back then?
You know what? He is very patient and he's very chill. And like, he wasn't as chill back then because he was fresh out of New York City. Like, they just roll. I mean, they're hardcore. But I think him being in Nashville for the last 5 years has like helped. We've kind of met in the middle. Like, he's chilled out a little bit, but he's just down for anything. Like, he's so just like roll with the punches. And I'm not like that. I'm a planner. I'm a girl too. So like, I want to know the drill. I want to know the flow. I want to make the flow, then go with it. I don't want to just go with somebody else's flow, you know? So I appreciate that about him.
How is he when you're driving? Is he like,
oh God, we just can't. It's just like, can any couples be in the car together?
Well, and he's an ex-police officer.
And he drives like that. He drives like a cop in New York City, and we're just like in Green Hills in Nashville. I'm like, what are we doing? And then he's like judging my parking, and it's so stressful. But we have an Airstream, and so we took like 2 summers ago. I took all of July off, and we went to like Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, and when we first got the trailer, he had never driven a trailer from city, and so I drove for the first like 6 months we had the trailer. And then he started driving, and he's really good at it. And so we fought less.
Okay.
Because, but I still judge him. I'm like, do you see that? You see all those memes? Like, did you see they put their brake lights on? He's like, I saw. Thank you. I have 2 eyes. Like,
Right. Can I ask how he proposed to you?
he just said, want to get married. And I was like, all right.
Oh.
It was pretty simple.
Oh, okay.
He's from New York. They're very direct.
Yeah.
And I'd already been married. So I was like, well, let's give it a whirl. This will be fun. And we're 5 years in and we're killing it.
I love it. Beyonce dropped a big album in 2024. Are you able to draw inspiration from artists that make albums like Cowboy Carter?
I try to draw inspiration from like life in general and pay attention to what's going on around. Beyonce is from Texas, so that made sense that she would go cowboy. You know what I mean? I've seen Beyonce like 5 times in concert. I saw Destiny's Child.
Whoa.
Like, legit. Yep.
Back in the day.
I want artists to be themselves. Like, whatever's authentic to you and whatever you're doing right now, if you're living in your authenticity, like, you have to appreciate that about an artist, about any genre of music, even if you don't love it or whatever you're, watching artists completely change genres or completely change their image or make a punk record or whatever is happening. I just like Post Malone coming to Nashville and immersing himself in our community that we love so much and like really taking this on as like making new friends here and really just being part of Nashville. It makes me happy, and I think that's exactly the right way to do it, and I appreciate it.
Okay. What's on your tour rider nowadays?
It's so lame. Like, it's like cheese and crackers, Lay's potato chips because the grease is good for your voice. Whatever. We just want chips. And like water and Tito's. And that's it.
The grease is good for the voice.
That's what they say. Aretha ate Lay's potato chips in the studio. So, like, let's do whatever she did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And also,
right.
it's just like, if you're usually drinking, if you're about to sing country music, well, that's how we do it. 'Cause we're old school. And then you need like something salty. So it all goes together.
Have you met Beyonce?
Yeah, I've met her. Met her a couple times.
What was that like?
It was awesome. I met her in Nashville. No, I met her at American Airlines Center one year. Then I met her in Nashville again. Really cordial and really sweet. And one time we talked at the Grammys. So we've crossed paths a few times.
Who's your dream artist to write for?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, George Strait. Like, I want a George Strait cut one time in my life. I know I should like branch out and have said like some big pop star, but like, you know who I love? Chappell Roan.
Okay.
She's cool.
Yeah, she's all over my news feed.
What's she do now? Anything good?
No, just daily.
Yeah, because she's out there.
Yeah, if you don't know her.
I know that she just said something about how her downtime is her downtime. Like, she just seems really smart and really authentic and really truthful. And I appreciate that about anybody, not just artists, just anybody in general.
What's next for you in 2025?
The road. I'm always on the road. We'll do shows and hopefully keep creating. You know, I'm part of Big Loud Texas now, which is a label that is, we're cultivating the culture in Texas. I mean, we got to make sure we protect what Willie and Wallen and the boys started. And that's what Big Loud Texas is going to do. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on that and, mentoring some younger artists and creating and also just living. I ride horses. I started mounted shooting. And so that's my new hobby. It's really fun. So,
sounds fun.
It is fun. I mean, you're going like 100 miles an hour shooting balloons off of a horse. Like, how's that not fun? Blowing off some steam.
I hear you. Well, thanks for the great record. Thanks for coming by as well.
Thank you.
Let's bring in Billy Dukes from behind the camera to talk about this. This was an epic interview. We had you don't really get this much time with Miranda Lambert. This was a lot of interesting stuff got answered.
What was your favorite part, your big takeaway, or what you went home and told your wife about?
Definitely the driving. I thought that driving with the husband is funny. I think that's so relatable to all husband and wives, but it was really cool to hear her peel that back because, as you know, I mean, and if you're listening to this, you don't really get too much from Miranda outside of business. You get a little bit here and there. So to really get her to open up like, for example, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but we asked her how he proposed to her, which this wasn't new. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, but I feel like she doesn't talk about her life so much that no one really knows.
No, everything she kind of gives, it felt kind of intentional. I Googled around. I'm not sure she's ever, I mean, the proposal story wasn't like this epic proposal story, but it was a nice little nugget. And I don't know that I don't know that anybody's ever really asked how he proposed, because we just found out she was married.
Yeah. I wonder, like, did some people kind of feel like she proposed? Because the way the relationship kind of happened, I mean, she was on top of the throne and he was guarding the throne, and, you know, she went to pick some fruits, you know?
I agree with you, though. The driving part was the, I mean, by that point in the interview, everybody felt loose, like had gotten past the small talk. If she was anxious at all, she was beyond that. Like, it was really comfortable, kind of, really from that point on. Like, prior to that, there was some more, like, I don't know, musical type questions that you had to ask, and she was going back and forth on. But she really warmed up talking about her husband and such a positive. I mean, she gets a lot. I mean, you go on to like the Reddit threads, and there's a lot of people who are like, Miranda Lambert's marriage is in trouble, this and that. Like, that is always dogging her. So it was just really refreshing to hear her talk about her husband in a way that kind of put all that to rest.
Yeah, and everybody back off. Like, she has barely dated anybody. Like, she's barely been in too many serious relationships, just because the Blake thing, I think, put her on the radar of, because I don't know, you know how like older women love Blake Shelton, so they're like, oh, you wronged our man, you know, and then it's like, I'm just like, back off. Like, she didn't do anything crazy. She's had a couple guys, and she found her a little ex-cop, a cop that she likes, little eye candy. If it's the other, I was about to say, if it's the other way around. It's the other way around all the time, and nobody bats an eye at it.
Right. You know what else I liked from her was she admitted she's sort of chilled out a little. Like, she's now in her 40s. She's not as fiery and angry as she once was. But still, I kind of wanted to see her give you the what for. Like, give you that look or like that voice. Like, what's it like when she just really explodes on someone? Because it's still in there.
It's funny. I was so close, man. But like, she was just like, you don't want to get me. But I don't know. I was real close to like trying to create a scene, but I just I didn't feel like. I gotta be honest, man. I'm scared of Miranda Lambert. I've said this before. I'm scared of her.
I was gonna ask you, were you a little more nervous for this interview than you were like for some other ones?
Yeah, she will like chew you up alive. Like, I have no other way to explain it. She's a very nice lady and a very talented artist, and I love her. She will interview. She will interview the crap out of you. Like, it'll be like I don't know, like somebody that if someone was like, congratulations, you just got your first job in radio. You're the afternoon guy on this radio station, and your first interview is Miranda Lambert. Like, I would feel very bad for that person.
And you know what it is? Like, I don't know that you could point to anything in our encounter with her the whole time she was in the building and say, this is why people are afraid of her. So it's a lot of her persona, her catalog, like when she's on stage, she'll take beach balls and stab them with a big knife. She'll tell fans to pay attention. Like, she's a boss in sort of that element. Combined with what she sort of said, where she's like someone who loves, like, not knowing where the car is going makes her really anxious. Like, she's a planner, she said, and she likes to make the plan. And interviews are sort of the opposite of that. So she's kind of in the passenger seat. And I think maybe that makes her a little bit anxious, and that anxiety can kind of come off as like, it can kind of put other people a little bit on edge in some situations.
I could see that. And I think she married perfectly, because she doesn't need an alpha type guy, even though he's alpha. Like, she needs like a guy that she can be like, I don't know. She could be like, well, this is what you're getting me for my birthday. Here's my credit card. That's what she needs.
This is a good album for her. Like, it explores her life, but like, there's no temptation to kind of parse out like which songs are from what scenarios. Like, as a music fan, you can kind of just appreciate that as an album, and it's been a really long time since you've been able to do that. Like the Platinum album, kind of felt like it was about her and her marriage to Blake Shelton at the time. And then, of course, The Weight of the Wings was about the divorce, and I think she's released one or two since. This one, like, you don't get that temptation to really think, oh, who's she writing about here? Who's this song about? Like, it just kind of feels like it's personal, but like you said, it's not autobiographical. You can kind of apply the songs to your own life as you want to.
Yeah. Do you think that she will get back to that ever, or have her fans moved on and she realizes that?
Unless there's another sort of thing to write about, like, I don't. If her and Brendan are married for 50 years and they die happily together, and there's just not a big sort of dramatic event, like a tabloid making event, I don't know that we will kind of see that. Like, she'll always write about her life, but, maybe not in sort of those sort of really sensational ways.
Yeah, unless it's like we've been saying, like non-auto or whatever, non-autobiographical.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as autobiographical. It didn't, it didn't seem like she was naming names.
It makes sense, though, because she's starting to write for other artists now in this point in her career. So, maybe she'll keep continuing to get less and less autobiographical and more into like things that she can place herself in that maybe she hasn't experienced in her own right.
Part of the interview I've been thinking about a lot this week is when you asked her about Beyonce and drawing inspiration from her album. Yeah. And it wasn't really a question that made her give an opinion on Beyonce. We kind of wanted to avoid sort of setting her up for that. But it gave her an opportunity to sort of talk about Beyonce. And it turns out she's a really big fan. She's seen her live. But she kind of quickly pivoted to Post Malone and how Post Malone has sort of embraced country music and how he's come into the genre. I don't know. I kind of wonder if that was one of those situations where, almost like Keith Urban's done a few times, where she sort of recognized there was no right answer to talking about Beyonce, but Post Malone's a safer topic. So she kind of
that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. Or, other people can look at it also like, was she subconsciously injecting, well, I'll tell you this about Beyonce, and then I'll tell you why Post Malone's the man, which includes something that Beyonce didn't do, because, I mean, Post Malone is not as big of a star as Beyonce, granted, I would say, but, Beyonce didn't really come to Nashville to record it. Could she have even have done that? I don't even think so.
I think so.
You think?
100%. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She could have. Yeah. Like, if she wanted to do what Post Malone did, she could have. She could have gathered up the songwriters and, there'd be a lot of
Post Malone at a local ball. I mean, Beyonce on Broadway,
no.
hanging out playing beer pong with Luke Combs.
No. She couldn't have done that, but she could have made herself known in the songwriter rooms in town and done a couple of showcases where she invited press, and it could have been a warmer. I mean, this is a really hot conversation right now because Beyonce didn't get any nominations for the CMA Awards and Post Malone did. And people have all sorts of theories, and a lot of them are really valid as to why that didn't happen. But I think you have to look at kind of how Beyonce came into the genre throwing elbows. Like, it was a reaction to how she feels she was mistreated at the CMAs, and she wanted people to know that. Whereas Post Malone for several years has been sort of forming and building upon those songwriter relationships and people. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's more nominated than she is this year.
I think you nailed that like I did my thumb on accident this weekend.
Do you, I had one more question. This was a question we didn't ask. And I kind of wonder about it because you leaned into it when you asked her if she had a chip on her shoulder. The song Damn It, Randy. A lot of people think the Randy is her ex-record label CEO, Randy Goodman. And the song was sort of putting him on blast because they let her go. And when you listen to the lyrics, it fits into that narrative if you want to go there. And we didn't ask it, I think, because we kind of thought it was a little too insidery. But after hearing what she said about the chip on the shoulder, do you think that was the case?
I still don't think so. I feel like she wouldn't put that out there. I feel like she's taken the high road so many times. Why take the low road this time? I mean, if it would be a different name. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't decided either. Maybe someone will ask her that question.
Yeah, I mean, the Randy name is just, I mean, it's very like awkward, odd that it's just a Randy. Like, who's Randy?
Right.
But it's just like, I don't know. I just don't feel like someone in her position would do that. I feel like she'll talk through her music numbers and not lyrics.
I hope someone asks her. We chose not to, but I hope it gets out there because as this is kind of an insidery conversation we have each week. This is the place where I want to know that answer.
Yeah.
If people have gotten to this point of the podcast, they want to know too, I think.
Yeah, that's one of those that we need to like ask outside, like after, if you're listening, just to let you know, there's like a grace period. Like once we hit stop on the record and we go into the lobby, like sometimes, you can ask other things and it's just kind of understood. You won't talk about it, but
right.
I feel like that's one of those we need to next time, or we need to bring that up out in the lobby and just be like, hey, what's the deal here?
So we got good interviews coming. We have Miranda this week. I think we got Brantley Gilbert maybe next week, right?
Yeah, Brantley. Man, I got Justin Moore's coming by. We got all kinds of people stopping by. Taste of Country Nights. If you want to listen to some of our past interviews where your favorite at this point, pretty much every country music superstar has been interviewed now, check out Taste of Country Nights on demand wherever you get your favorite podcasts.